We just had a great morning sit this morning. It's November 1st. And I mean, it's really getting on the close of, really on the front side of the peak rut. You know, we've done a couple videos lately where we're in the pre-rut and just beginning the pre-rut. But boy, right now, November 1st, Southwest Wisconsin, it's starting to move. And we heard grunting this morning. We had some chasing with some young bucks and was able to pass on a 4-year-old 8-point. We have some video of some trail cam footage. Now, we're hunting a parcel here that's about 52 acres, and we're fortunate we have some big parcels around us. There's a lot of hunters in the area. In fact, we have some right on our borders. And but on this property, because of the large parcels around us, because some people that hunt around here are pushing deer a little bit, or you know, I think that not everyone's going after an older buck or mature buck, but we have 3 bucks that we feel are 6 years old on this property. And that's why I passed up that 4-year-old. We have another property that we hunt, and believe it or not, there's a nice 4-year-old on there, and if I have him come by, I might shoot him. He's the best on that property that we know of right now. And so, you know, it brings kind of the question, what are your harvest goals? What are your objectives on your property? You know, of course, I consult with about 70 to 75 clients a year around the country, and that's a question that comes up often, you know, very often. You know, what do you, and one of the problems that I see with people putting expectations on for bucks and what they should shoot is I've seen hunters put expectations for bucks that they don't have in the area. For example, I've had a client that's held out for 7-8 years for shooting a buck because he really thinks he has to shoot a 4-year-old buck. And I ask him how many trail camera pictures he's had, which ones he's had, and he's never had one. So here's a hunter holding out for something that is kind of a ghost, probably not even a realistic expectation. You know, we might hunt public land, UP and Michigan later this year, and if I could run into a 3-year-old buck rubbing elbows to elbows with all the hunters that are out on public land up there, same with Pennsylvania, if I go there this year, I'd be happy to shoot a 3-year-old buck. And so, you know, it's all relative. And I think that the expectations, whatever you have, for one, they have to be realistic. I'd like to see, you know, me personally, I like to target that top end of the age class, those top 10, 15% of bucks in the area. And that's what's great with the trail cam inventories we get. We get to see what's there and rarely miss a buck. So that's important, you know, be realistic, know what's out there, and the trail cameras will show you that. Especially, you know, we use Exodus trail cameras, high quality trail cameras, so when we have a set, there's one right behind me here, we expect it to last and not have any failures. So realistic expectation, but at the same time, you know, don't set your expectations based on someone else. If you want to shoot a 2-year-old buck, 3-year-old buck, 4-year-old buck, you know, I'm all for shooting whatever you want to, and most of all, having fun. And so, you know, again, we got to pass up a nice 4-year-old this morning, probably a buck that I might shoot some other location somewhere. But I like going after, I like the strategy, and I like the challenge of going after the oldest bucks, just a few target bucks on a certain property. And that's part of the fun of hunting. You know, if I want some meat, I go shoot a doe. I can shoot a doe just about any day of the season. So when we want meat, we shoot does. We enjoy the meat from the bucks too. But when I want a challenge and when I want to go sit out and freeze my rear end off during the rut and watch a lot of deer go by and maybe go after one of those older ones, I do that too. There's a lot of enjoyment with that. So set realistic expectations for yourself. I keep looking around because these dang squirrels, you know. But set realistic expectations for yourself. Don't let anyone else set those expectations for you. And most of all, keep the fun in hunting. And I look forward to hearing about it. I look forward to the feedback on the YouTube channel. And we're starting to develop a really good following, a lot of conversation on the YouTube channel. So when you shoot something, let me know about it. I love hearing about it, and I love hearing the stories. So whether it's Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, make sure to leave your mark and let me know how you do.